go. Great. So, hello and welcome everybody to this Sovereign Circle. And so what we're going to be looking at today is the patterns of behavior that we have about being with ourselves and being with others. And then also the judgments that go with that. So, for example, if you judge yourself as someone who's like, I'm private or I'm a sociable person, and even just labeling yourself that way could be seen as a judgment. But then also, if you're a private person, maybe judging being sociable as being bad or being wrong or being too much or too loud or whatever. And then also, if you're a sociable person, then you might judge someone being private as being too quiet or being bad or being whatever. So we're just going to be using predominantly the lover archetype initially to just be looking at patterns and the judgments that we might have and where they show up in the body and how we can work with those. And then the kind of the purpose of that is then to be able to expand our range a little bit, so that if you're a private person, but there are times when you want to be more sociable, to be able to expand your range that way. And if you're a more sociable person, but you find yourself wanting from time to time to be more private, to again be able to expand your range in that direction as well. So that's what's on the program. Sound good? Yeah, awesome, great. Anything you want to add to that, Thea? Because this was your idea and I just wanted to make sure we do it justice before we start.
No, I think you've explained it really well. It's it's that I think we generally have a tendency towards either aloneness or togetherness as a default, and I'm just aware in myself that I can get fixed in one, and then I struggle with ideas of, like, quite often these days I tend to more aloneness than I'm used to in my life, and then I struggle to think of connection with others in a positive light. I find it like I can get very when I've got social things coming up. So I find the embodiment of that really helps to kind of ease myself across those, that make them more fluid, make myself more fluid in the movement between them.
Yeah, great, thank you. So as always, just as this could be quite challenging for some people and for other people it isn't. So to invite you just to take a moment with me now, if you're listening to the recording or if you're live with us now, to just take a moment, put everything down, sit back in your seat, feel your feet on the floor and your bum on the chair and the support of the chair on your back. Maybe closing your eyes or bringing your gaze down and just bringing your awareness into your body. How are you showing up right now? How resilient do you feel? How resourced do you feel? And taking a moment to think about, how much do I feel comfortable challenging myself today? Am I willing to push myself a little bit, or do I feel like I want to stay a little bit more comfortable? And whatever you decide is completely okay. So encouraging you to take self-responsibility for your process and where you are and how you're showing up on today's call. And then as we just come out of that, to take a moment to write in the chat, just 3 words or less, how you're showing up today on this call before we start proper. I'm definitely feeling hot, and I'm feeling excited, and I'm feeling very grateful to be here. And while people are doing that, just to say the usual guidelines apply. Think of what we're offering here as an invitation. Don't feel like you have to do anything that you don't want to do. Making self-care and self-responsibility your primary thing. So yeah, we've got quiet, private and gentle, energized in my heart and at the same time tied in my body. Yeah, fantastic. Great. Yeah, calm, open and grounded, blotting out the lawnmower outside. Very good. Excellent. Right, thank you for that. So Thea's going to take you through most of this process, but what I'm going to do to start us off is just a nice lover archetype meditation to open, to connect in with lover for some openness and for some courage to work with this process. So if you want to arrange yourself in your seat so that you feel upright, again, eyes closed or eyes open, but with your gaze down. And as your attention draws inwards, become aware of your breathing. Noticing the movement of your body as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Maybe noticing the belly move and also noticing the movement in your chest, if there is any. And as your awareness settles in that chest area, maybe turning your palms up towards the ceiling in your lap, which allows the shoulders to open. And gently allowing your shoulder blades to go down and back so that you get a sense of opening in the chest. And as best you can, relaxing the muscles around the rib cage, between the ribs, around the ribs at the front and the back. Maybe feeling the space in the chest expanding slightly, giving more room for the heart. For the heart to be open so that it's giving and receiving. And also feeling the heart space opening for courage. Courage comes from the heart. And allowing yourself to feel in your body where that lover archetype resides at the moment in the chest space. And then, as we draw to a close, maybe touching the hand to the heart as an acknowledgement of the lover archetype as we step into this process with Thea. And a moment of gratitude and appreciation for yourself for taking part in this journey to the extent that you want to and you're willing to. And as you open your eyes, taking a moment to look at the people on the screen, these friendly faces that are going to support us through this process. And then from there, I'm going to hand over to Thea.
Beautiful, David. Thank you. Could have stayed there. Easy.
Mm.
No problem. Okay, so we're going to explore ideas and states of togetherness and aloneness now, and our embodied relationship with those. So you can do it sitting by using your imagination to make the shifts, or if you do have the energy for it, please join me standing. Make as much as I can of me visible. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful connection with lover there. From that meditation, really enjoyed connecting in with it. Was needed. I actually felt lover down my back, and I really felt like my lover aspect had my back today, which was nice, a nice feeling. So we're going to do a bit of work with using circles on the floor to step into the state of togetherness, or step into the state of aloneness, and then see what comes up. Like, circles are a really great tool to use. I use them a lot in my work, and by defining a circle, by defining a space and stepping into that space, what I always find is I have an experience of what I've defined that space as in my body. So so I hope that's the experience you get. If it, and that might also be nothing. So you might sit there thinking, well, I'm not getting an experience of the space, but that might be what you're getting, is a sense of like nothing. So just be open to receive what you get, to let that be your experience without kind of judging yourself or doubting yourself. Go with the flow of it, and see where this takes you. So interested to explore aloneness to start. So if you'd like to imagine a circle in front of you and kind of draw that circle in your mind's eye or using your finger, and define that as a space of aloneness for you. And we're going to step into that space and then explore our bodily relationship with our embodied reaction to that space. So maybe for a start, notice how it feels as you're preparing to step into a state of aloneness. What do you notice in your body as you decide to step into this space? I ask that because I'm suddenly aware of quite a feeling of nerves in my belly at stepping into a space of aloneness. So I was curious, be curious if you have that in your, is there an excitement in it, or is there a dread in it, or are you reluctant or eager, or neutral about this? And then just when you're ready, take a moment, choose your moment. And when you're ready, step into your space of aloneness. Take a moment, settle into it. This is you in a state of aloneness. And notice what you're feeling in your body. Any reactions or any sensations that you're experiencing in your embodied relationship with aloneness. Or anything that you want to do to resolve it or embrace it, like how familiar is this to you? Or how uncomfortable or new is it to you? And is it longed for, or is it dreaded? Is it not wanted? And at the moment, we're not trying to resolve anything. We're not trying to change it. It's an awareness exercise of your body reacting to the state of aloneness. And having noticed it, when you're ready, step out again. And then draw another circle. And this circle define, name, label as togetherness or socialness, whatever words work for you. This is your space of togetherness. And once again, notice how it feels in your body to be preparing to step into that space. Do you have a sensation of wanting to step into there or not wanting to step into it, of eagerness or of reluctance? And where do you experience those in your body? And when you're ready, step into your circle of togetherness, of socialness. Once again, take a moment to notice, is this different? Is it a different experience in this space? Is it a familiar feeling to be in a state of being with people, being social, being together with others? Is it something longed for, or is it something that you don't want, that you avoid? And again, you're not trying to do anything with it. You're noticing, raising your awareness of your own relationship to two different states of being, two different choices, two options. I have my usual bottom tightening, but I don't know that that's to do with being together with others. That's just what happens when I'm standing. I did just notice it. So once again, when you've noticed, step out of that space. And I want to explore moving between the two states and working with your body to soften or to open, to work with any feelings of resistance about stepping towards the other space, and vice versa, to start feeling that fluidity, that sense of wanting to step into of being able to flow between the two. But just before we do that, I wanted to maybe come back to the screen just for a moment and check in with you with anything you're noticing so far, and particularly maybe any judgments that come up about one or other of the states. If anybody would like to unmute and share.
I'm happy to unmute and share. I've unmuted.
Great, Alison, go for it.
I was expectant about both of them, curious. I found interestingly, with moving into the one embodying being with others, my vision changed. I became aware of meaningful objects in my space, pictures and photos of people, a little Buddha head. It was quite intimate in a sense, and it was a kind of a meaningful relationship I could feel. And I've got a rattle, a shaker, African shaker on my desk, and a little tiny rattle, and it brought to mind times of sharing, making music and shamanic workshops, different things like that. So it felt in the round. But differently, being on my own, in my own space, it was a kind of expansive, curious, just more of a liminal space. I don't know how to describe it. Just
I get you.
Full of possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great, Alison. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Sonia, do you have any observations you want to share?
Well, I'm wondering, do I share now or at the end?
Share just where we got to if you want to.
Well, I'm feeling very playful. I found these parts of the chair that I put on the floor, and I made 2 of them. And actually, because they're new, they're very bouncy. So as I would step on one, I felt quite bouncy. And I realized that being an extrovert, I'm becoming more introvert. And I enjoyed the flow and like being on my own and then being with others and flowing, depending on my capacity or how I feel, and okayness with this flow, being playful and bouncy. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, great. Well, so you carry on playing with that. We'll catch you up. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so let's do a bit of what Sanya's been experiencing ourselves, of like holding the two spaces there, one aloneness, one togetherness, and working within your body to notice any tightness in one state compared to the other, and see if you can soften that and open it and be a bit more kind of in your body, more accepting, and then how it feels to move into the other space and see if anything tightens up that you can soften or open, or if maybe there's too much softness that you can kind of step into. So if we start again, stepping to naming aloneness, naming togetherness. I'm going to suggest starting with aloneness, but it's completely random. So, and if you get to do anything different, then please do so. But I'm just going to step into my circle of aloneness. Once again, get a feeling of that. And it's actually, I'm being informed by what you've shared, both of you as well. Like that sharing space informs us of other options and possibilities that we may want to look for in our own bodies. It's really useful, really valuable. And notice if there's any tightness about being alone or any resistance to it as an embodied state, any sense of judgment that you can soften and let go of. Move your body in any way that works for you to connect with aloneness in a way that gives you a full-bodied sense of it being okay, of it being a possibility, whether it's familiar to you or not. Humans are very adaptable, so we can decide how we want to be so often, so much more than we believe. I'm aware of needing to relax my shoulders a bit, relax my belly a bit, let my breathing deepen to embrace aloneness. And then when you're curious, step into the other circle of togetherness if you started with aloneness. And notice again if anything changes, if any doubts or patterns of behavior are coming to mind about being with others. If there's any tightness, to relax and open. And then Lava has that beautiful flowing energy. So you can continue to use Lava in that way to maybe flow between the two. But also for you, and you two are very familiar with the other archetypes. So can you bring in any of the other archetypes to support you in either one or the other? Any warrior that might help, or magician or sovereign that might help you in either aloneness or togetherness, or in flowing between the two. I still just feel drawn to stay with Lover, to stay with a bit of that kind of flowing sense of choosing to move between them. But you might feel you need a bit of raw energy to get into one of the other, a bit of warrior oomph, or a bit of sovereign decision making. So explore it for yourself. What serves, what helps, what enables you to stretch your own responses and readiness and flexibility and choice making. Moving between togetherness and aloneness. When you've played with that for a moment or two, when you feel ready, I'm going to come back to screen. Join me when you're ready. Just a brief moment to debrief. We fitted in quite a lot with the meditation and practice and a share in the middle. It's been busy. Any observations as at the other side of that exploration that you'd like to share? Alison.
Very interesting. The fluidity of love, I really connected with what you were saying about that feeling of the flowingness and the connection. I've brought in, I feel like some magician came in when I was, especially in my alone state, because it just made it exciting and interesting. And there seemed to be an expansion of possibility and connecting in a different way with other realms, if you like. I don't know how to say it really.
Yeah.
Whereas with others in relationship, maybe a need for sort of a bit more self-awareness and grounding. I felt like I was weighing things up a little bit, sort of, I could feel holding my hands out and balancing things. And that's all I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alison. Lovely observations. Anything you'd like to add to your...
I would just briefly say that for me, there's always been this, if I'm alone, then there's this kind of thing of shunning others. And when I'm sociable, it's almost like I lose myself. So what was lovely about that exercise is like I had this picture of like the yin and yang sign. So the two teardrops that come together and then they support each other. So for me, there was this sense of, okay, when I'm sociable, then I stay connected with myself, and that lends a lot of power and confidence for me. And when I'm alone, to be aware that there are lots of people around that really love and appreciate me. So I don't have to be lonely and I can be alone.
Yeah, beautiful.
Lovely. Thank you.
So yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing. And Sanya.
Yeah, very similar. I was sitting with internal and external more than alone and togetherness, and actually is bringing my internal world externally. And I just learned a new word, interoception, which is sensing, and this is what I'm developing. So I want to join this, exactly as David was sharing. I want to bring myself when I'm with the other, and that dance, that's for me this practice. That's what comes alive. Yeah, thank you.
There's something you can do with that I find really useful when I'm in that space, particularly with others, and I want to bring myself to it fully, but not over fully, because I can be quite a forward person in groups, and I find imagining my circle, imagining my kind of sovereign circle, and imagining their sovereign circle, and imagining them just touching like the infinity, like that infinity circle, and noticing if I want to kind of push into their space at all and just drawing back, or if I want to draw aloof and just pulling it back into connection. So I use my imagination a lot in that sense of when I'm with others as a way of kind of noticing my tendencies and having more choice around rather than just following them. Beautiful, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your observations with us. Really enjoyed having this time with you. And I'm going to hand over to David to wrap us up and lead us out.
Great. So in the interest of time, I invite you to quickly connect into your lover in whatever way you want. Maybe it's a movement in your spine or in your hips, and unmute and say goodbye in whatever way that you would like to as we finish the call.
Goodbye.
Bye bye, Sanya. Bye, Alison.
Bye bye.